Welcome back, you guys. This is an epic long, super long, epic, clean for you. I tried cleaning for a week. Also, if you guys hear thunder in the voiceover, I cannot control Mother Nature, even though I try desperately. But I cast a spell today, it went sideways, and now we have a thunder and lightning storm, which I love. So cozy vibes. But if you are like, oh, cozy vibes, I'm going to tuck in, I'm going to get a cup of coffee, I'm going to watch this video. No, get your butt up and clean. I'm showing you the laundry room. That never comes back. Just forget that is an abandoned plot. Ignore it because I certainly did and still have. So get your butt up. I worked so hard and I kept backsliding. Who rolls the ball up the hill? Is that Prometheus? Who rolls the ball up the hills, you guys? It doesn't matter. Okay, it does. We should all know Greek mythology. That just feels correct. But anyways, I'm dude who is continuously pushing that heavy ball uphill because the gods were like, this would be really cute, watch. And no matter how far I push it up, it rolls back down. Okay, to be honest, I don't actually know how that story goes. The breadth of my knowledge for that is that there is a ball, there is a hill, gods are involved, and some dude pushes, but is it really heavy so it takes him forever? Does it continuously roll backwards? Does he ever get to the top of the mountain and then the gods yeet him back down to the bottom? They were like, no, dude, do it correctly. Okay, well, guess who did not prepare for this voiceover? Me. So, previously on Desperate Feral Tradwives, we did this entryway. I should have said thirsty feral tradwives because my husband was in it and I definitely got distracted by how cute he was. But we redid my entryway. My entryway was really terrible and I hated it. I had a rug in here. I rolled it up just in case one of the animals wanted to pee on it before I got it back to Amazon. That would have been terrible. So I got it up. Sorry, I'm a child and giggled at that phrase. I pulled up that rug. It was too small. It was too short, too narrow. And the table is too small. The mirror I purchased, also too small. And it just looked disproportionate. So I bought a few more things. And we're going to start in the entryway because it makes me feel good. Also, by the way, this is day one. When also I had so much time, I was like, oh my God, I can get this whole house clean done. I will have a whole week and I'll have a Friday video ready and I'll have a whole week and my life is amazing. And here it is, Saturday, well past that Friday deadline I was bragging about. And I'm doing the voiceover. I edited, I voiceovered. This week got away from me so badly. And if you are watching any of my live streams or watched my last vlog, I am in a battle royale with the loan company of my RV. It's a significant deal and I am losing my mind. So much of this week is me on the phone with the company explaining to me how interest rate works and then pretending like they care and be like, yes, absolutely, I'll call you back. And then I'm never called back. Somebody giving me their direct line and then they never answer that direct line. It's a problem. It's a big problem. So I finally got the printout of what they're saying my payments looked like, and it's a problem. And so there's a very significant chance that we're getting into the RV next week and driving it the 4.5 hours down south and parking it in that bank parking lot and making them explain their actions. That's where I am at this point. Also, Mark is away this whole week on a work trip, and work trips mean I don't have as consistent communication with him because he's busy, right? He's busy doing worky thingies, and I'm busy losing my absolute effing mind over this. So, there's a lot of anxiety. I also have another anxiety-inducing event later in the week. There's just a lot of me having a really hard time, lots of anxiety, and my anxiety pairs nicely with not doing anything. Those two things are such a compliment, chef's kiss. I highly recommend having crippling anxiety and sitting on your couch thinking about how you should do things, but then just don't effing do it. Okay, why is this left in? Where did I go? Okay. So that is my emotional support giant jug of dishwashing soap. It lives in the sink when I can remember. In reality, that is our replacement bulk soap. I like to buy things in bulk. I like to prep because the zombies are coming, and I swear I'm going to harness a zombie. I will. I don't even care. I've seen it on The Walking Dead, so I have a pretty good idea of how to do it. Not taking their jaws off, not taking their arms off, just gonna I guess I'll do a whisper style where they wear the face of the dead and then whisper to the zombies and get them to do what they want them to do. And that is what I'm taking with me to the bank. That's just how that is going to go. Please, that's a joke. Anybody from the bank who's listening to me, I'm not going to bring zombies. I'm going to just be like emotionally sad and cry some, and that'll be fine. If I sneeze, maybe I'll pee my pants. Who knows? It could go either way. So that is how that is going to work. What am I talking about? Oh, so I like to prep. And that giant jug of dish soap was in our garage and something had fallen on it. So the side of it is split. There's a crack. And we tried using tape, not very effectively. So it's slowly oozing out. And so we have to keep it in the sink until we use up enough soap that it's below the crack. And that's what's happening with that. Often I forget that that's happening and I set it on the counter. And when I move it, there's a nice pool of soap. So this is Monday, I'm pretty sure. So yes, it's Monday. I discover on Sunday, the day before, all of the tomfoolery of the RV. And I'm not going to dwell for 2 hours about the RV, you guys. I'm going to sprinkle it in a little bit. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that sucks. You'll figure it out through context clues. I'm sure of it. So I found out on Sunday and I called, but I just got like the first line of defense for them and they couldn't really help me or do anything. So I was like, you know what? That's fine. I will call back Monday. So here I am rage cleaning, I think, after I got off the phone with them, and I'm waiting for a call back because I look awfully calm for that situation. So maybe I haven't called them yet and I'm getting ready for it. Yes, because I have a vlog to do. I'm doing my daily vlog. I'm doing my hard 75 still, and I am calling the bank, but also I have the intention of cleaning, right? So I have previously talked to the bank, did not appreciate how that went. I definitely got jerked around a ton, and I'm waiting for a call back. Spoilers, they don't call me back, and I'm just working on this stuff. And I'm cleaning. And shockingly, I don't get all that much done because I think I call back later after this, and I was like, no, I'll just do a quick call back. And that took a significant amount of time. And then I was just like drained. You know how that goes? I'm sure you do. So that is where we are on this day. I think on my shirt, fun for me, that's like olive oil or something. So that reminds me, I have to go through this shirt and spray it with Dawn Power Wash before I wash it so that I don't wash it and then like solidify the oil stain as part of its DNA, which I absolutely hate because I hate pre-treating, because I hate laundry. And I feel like if you can't survive being my clothes and just going in the same load as everyone else with the same standards, the same amount of soap, then you don't need to be in my life. That's one thing too many for me. That's annoying. But that's how life goes. So I haven't like deep cleaned this corner of my kitchen in, I don't know, 300 years, give or take. Like Rumpelstiltskin napped this whole time and he's just now waking up. And I was like, yeah, it's about time, because that's how I cycle my life, is based off of whether Rumpelstiltskin is awake or not. And he's waking up, so we got to clean this corner of my kitchen. That's what the law states. Also, same time frame, cleaning off this little dishy thingy. I got this dishy thingy from Grove Collaborative. Some of my absolute favorite items came from them. and yet still not worth like having a membership to them. I sign up, order the 5 things that I really enjoy from them, and then I'm like, delete. Okay, so ta-da, I bought this rug. It's significantly longer, but not wider. And I like it so much. The first rug I bought was a little bit more greenly hued, and this one definitely is more black, but that's okay because any moment now I'm going to pull down my Americana decor and transition to fall. So I think these deeper colors are much better. And then I put the second bin there. Everything is so much more balanced to me. I like it so much more. Now, you may have looked at that rug and you're like, Beth, it's off center. I fix it 3 days from then. I do eventually see it and then I fix it. And so because I'm doing a very big clean, it seemed reasonable. I was going to do on this day. I don't. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I clean this disaster that I hate. Somebody pointed out to me that maybe I hate it because the wood tone. Weirdly, how it's set up right here, you can see into my kitchen. You can see it's the same wood, and that is cohesive, and I like that. But only if you're standing in that one spot of my house, which nobody ever does. I didn't realize it until this moment that these are the same woods. You just don't see them at the same time whatsoever. What you do see at the same time is this wood and the door, wildly mismatched. This wood and the floor, close enough to be like, oh, it's close, but it's absolutely no cigar. There's like, I'm not going to make a Monica Lewinsky joke and age myself in that way. I am above that. But it doesn't work enough. It's too similar, but still not the same wood. Even if it was the same wood, I would hate that. I don't like log cabin vibes where everything's made out of the same stupid wood. Hate it. So what I think I might need to do we stain it like to kind of complement the door? Because remember, we're never going to see this bookshelf and the kitchen at the same time in like realistic living in my home situation. What does that look like? How? I don't know. I'm nervous because it just seems very high risk. And I can't figure out what the reward would be. I can't really picture it in my mind's eye. Also, I'm kind of like, what if we paint all of the walls? I have to wait. Mark didn't give me enough time. He's like, I'm going to be gone for a week, but I think he's getting smarter. He's learning. He's like AI. He's learning from me. I think he knew better, but I got maybe 2 to 5 day notice. That is not enough time for me to get up to shenanigans. I can't get up to my unsupervised nonsense if I don't have that sort of notification. Like last time, I had so much time. I was able to order paint and furniture and rearrange our entire bedroom, paint the crown molding, which everybody thought was a terrible idea. I love it. I have another plan actually for the ceiling. It's going to be amazing. And then I had to get him to change out the ceiling fan because I am not about that life that has electricity in it. And if I had to choose who I want to be electrocuted, me or Mark, it's always going to be Mark. It will always be Mark. So he didn't give me enough time. Certainly not enough time to go get a couple Rottweiler puppies. So I was left to just no nonsense, just unsupervised. Hate that for me. So I don't know. But if I do get enough notice, guys, what if we paint the entire house? And then one of the Ferals, Mary, really wants me to wallpaper the wall that's on the other, the wall that we can but can't see right here, this wall, that wall. I'm kind of down with that idea. I love the idea of wallpapering that wall. I'm going to hire somebody because that sounds awful. I know I would do a bad job. That's what it is. I would do a bad job and it would look horrific. But there was this one blue that somebody sent me somewhere and I can't remember where, but I'm dying for it. I'm really into that idea. And I think, okay. So we paint the entire house a color that I don't actually like and it doesn't work for us. The solution to that is to paint the entire house. That is just annoying and time consuming. It's not like I'm knocking down a wall. It's effing paint. I can always go back to this agreeable gray, which everybody else has in their entire house. And I'm over it at this point. It does not agree with me. It is disagreeable gray. And yeah, that was low-hanging fruit of a joke, but I have 2 hours that I'm supposed to talk to you guys. So let me say the tiny little dad jokes. That's what feels good. Oh, I wanted to tell you guys, and I completely avoided it. In that top shelf that I stood up for, those were the cremated remains of my first Rottweiler, Tinkerbell, who I'm pretty sure my neighbors poisoned. My other 2 Rottweilers, Beast, who you guys did not get to meet, unfortunately, he passed right before we moved in Oregon. And then Beauty, the Tinkerbell that you guys did know, the Rottweiler you guys did know. And then 2 cats we had a long, long time ago, Jezebel and Christian. They were actually Mark's cats before Mark and I hooked up. So old school throwback. And then up top with the eagle thing. Yeah, that's my father. That's part of my father-in-law. If you guys think my entire father-in-law would have fit into that thing, you are sorely mistaken. Like the amount of cremains, I guess, that you get from an adult, it's way too much. It's way too much. I think we have like a good chunk in a Ziploc bag somewhere else in the house. No, thank you. One thing I love about his urn, I suppose, was that Mark's brother, who is super into the Sioux Native Americans, he really identifies with it. We were not involved enough, and he picked those out. Ask me the percentage of Native American running through my family. 0. It's exactly 0. We were told that there was a lot of Hawaiian in there, but it's a lot more Filipinos who then lived in Hawaii and then married a very Nordic man thing. So maybe there's Hawaiian in there. Everybody really fundamentally believes Hawaiian, but if you go back to birth certificates, it's not that clear. So we have this eagle thing and I absolutely hate it. And it's a significant ordeal. I looked into it. It's a big deal to transfer remains from an urn to another urn because it's human remains and people are like, no, I want to be really respectful. Like, what if it poofs out and you inhale it? That's terrifying. I do not want to do that. Hard pass. Or like if it spills on the floor, you can't just like vacuum up remains, really. I mean, you could, but I bet you feel really guilty. Again, laundry room doesn't come up again. Don't worry about this. This is a new day. I am showing you my new starting position. It's not that much worser. Good English. It's not that much worse. It's not better. I didn't really get a lot of stuff done in the kitchen anyways. I just kind of did entryway and we didn't really muck up the entryway. So here we are. Maybe this is Tuesday. I think I gave up Tuesday and this is Wednesday. And I'm like, F it. I don't even care anymore, you guys. I just don't care that much. So anyways, I looked into transferring urns and it turned out to be way more of a deal than I wanted it to be. And so we get to have a soaring eagle that represents only really what Mark's brother likes. Nothing. My father-in-law would never have picked that. So that's fun. Anyway, here we are in the kitchen, which is, by the way, you guys, why I just want to be buried in a mostly shallow grave. Not too shallow, but not very deep. I just want to disintegrate. Hopefully my bones go too. If I could live in one of the states where composting is a thing, absolutely. 10 out of 10. Would love to be composted. Throw the rest of me in a national park if they allow it. Love that for me. I love it. But I don't want my cremated remains. Then my kids have to deal with baggies of mom that are in a box somewhere, like, because only so much fits in a certain thing, especially if you have to divvy me out. Gross. I hate this idea. Just all of me dissolves. Nobody can dig up my skull later and turn it into a punch bowl. This is what I want. And yes, that is a very significant fear of mine right now. I don't really know what to say about that. But what if they did? Because also, it's not that far fetched. They have found a couple of like kind of mummified dead bodies at haunted houses. And they're like, son of a gun. That's a real dude. Like, who just got misplaced enough that finally somebody's like, yes, I would love to have that in my haunted house. Thank you. Right? Like, I don't want that to happen. No, thank you. Hard pass. There is a risk that if I'm murdered, there's no digging me up and re-examining me. So Mark's closer to getting away with it than we thought. All right. Back in the kitchen, dressed like a ninja, really enjoying that for me. I made another batch of beef jerky, so I have to like clean out my dehydrator and my meat slicer. I know, Kalamala, you really want me to show me making beef jerky. I just keep not doing it. Sorry. I'm sorry. I will. I'll get to it. I promise, maybe, if I feel like it. We'll see what happens. Who knows? Oh, my leg's asleep. Okay. Maybe it's no, I have no idea what day it is. It doesn't really matter. But we made beef jerky. We're going to make more later. I bought a giant chunk of meat, like, I don't know, maybe 10 pounds of it. I can't guesstimate pounds very well. Sliced all of it, and I'm just cycling through, dehydrating. And because I don't trim the fat, it's not going to be shelf stable, really. It's just dehydrated because the fat doesn't really dehydrate enough, and you really do risk the chance of going rancid. So we dehydrate it. All it is sliced meat and Redmond's salt. And then I will measure it out into normal portions instead of eat all of it, Beth, and vacuum seal it and put it in the freezer, and it'll be good to go. It won't last that long. I just really don't like the idea of biting into rancid fat. It sounds yucky. All right, what else is new, you guys? What else do we want to talk about? I had a couple different ideas. What was one of my ideas? One of my ideas was actually, I was like, oh, you could tell him about the recent fight you had with your husband. It's not super, super recent, but the absolute rage he instilled inside of me. That could be one. So a while back, I had asked it was a weekend. It was a Saturday. And I had texted my husband like, hey, do you want to go to Sam's Club with me, like a cute little date? Because running errands with my husband is a date. We don't like to go out to eat together because one, finding a sitter is annoying. Now we can leave our kids unsupervised and it's fine. But like, do you guys feel like restaurants don't taste good anymore? Like the quality and the experience is absolutely not worth it for the price. Are you guys feeling that way? For example, we took the whole family to Longhorn Steakhouse last week. Calvin hit a 365-day streak on his Duolingo. For a good portion of it, he was learning Japanese, but now he's really focused on learning German. And he's dedicated. Our power went out during this week at some point. Our internet went out, not our power. We maintained power. The internet went out because they were doing construction a decent ways away, but cut through the specific fiber that we draw off of. And it took them until the next morning to reinstall. And Calvin's biggest concern was, what about my Duolingo lesson? Like, I can't log in. It just consistently loads. I will lose my streak. And I'm just very proud of him. When we went on vacation together and we went to California and we were doing VidCon and Disneyland and flying and stuff, every day, the first thing that he did when he had internet time was his lesson. And I'm very proud of that. And so when he told us it was 365 days, Mark and I talked and we were like, this is something we should really celebrate. We should make this a big deal. Even if he's not super good at German or anything like that, like he picked a goal and he has done it consistently for a year. There are so many adults who can't even say that, myself included. I am consistently on my 50th day streak of consistently working out and drinking enough water, but there are most people, I would hazard a guess, most will set a goal and then immediately fail at it. Or once it gets a little inconvenient, it would have been so easy to be like, oh, but I'm traveling. Now's not a good time. Oh, but we don't have access to the internet. Now's not a good time. Like he could have done that, but he made it a priority and just kept grinding. So we're like, let's go to dinner to celebrate him. So we go to dinner on the night that the internet was cut. So on the 366th day. And he brought his iPad with him so he could log into, we would either stop at a Starbucks or if the steakhouse had internet, that's when he logged on. He knocked out his lesson while we were waiting for our table. And like I was so proud of him. So we put our names down and it was well over an hour before we were seated. It was like an hour and 20 minutes. And our kids did phenomenal waiting. Nobody was excited about it. We were very annoyed, but it was what it was because we went on a Friday and that was a stupid choice. And we finally sat and we ordered and the food wasn't very good. And sure, you could be like, Beth, it's because you went to Longhorn Steakhouse. No, I remember previously going there and actually enjoying my steak. I did not enjoy my steak. I didn't enjoy almost any of it. And my kids were the same where they're like, oh, not as good. And I told my husband, I was like, you make far better steaks at home. It just didn't feel good. It felt very inconvenient as well. And it was wildly expensive. It was so expensive. And I'm not into it anymore. Our anniversary is coming up and I'm genuinely waffling on the idea of Mark and I having a date night together at a restaurant because I'm like, do I want to spend our 16th, I believe, anniversary like mildly annoyed? Being like, could have been in my pajamas this whole time. Like, do I want full face of makeup, uncomfortable bra, not even a sports bra, like real bra, a real bra with underwire? Do I want that? And then be like, well, at least it was expensive. We can say that much. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I will be done with Hard 75 by the time our anniversary rolls around. And I do have like excitement about the idea of eating something that's not keto. That would be fun. Oh, and then it makes me sick. Imagine. It makes me all sick. Okay, so we don't particularly like dates, but we do particularly like each other. I'm not saying we don't like dating each other. We don't like going out to dinner because it's annoying. And I want it to get better. I do. I want it to get better. I want it to get back to being like a good experience, a fun one, a worthwhile one. But as it stands, it does not taste very good and it's not worth my time. So anyways, I was like, do you want to go to Sam's Club? We'll grocery shop together as like a little date. And I had texted that to him because we are a very modern family who doesn't speak to each other out loud. We text each other. So he's like, yeah, give me 1 minute. And then he goes in the room and I wait an hour and I go in and he's sleeping and I'm pissed, right? And so I'm like, don't even want to go with you anymore. I'm going to go by myself. I'm very mature and I am so good at conflict resolution that I just don't talk to him for 2 days because of maturity, right? And so finally, when he comes, I don't talk to him all Sunday. He comes home Monday and he's like, let's talk. And this man continues to piss me off, right? Like it's bad enough that he fell asleep. I felt that was very disrespectful. That's where I was. I was like, the disrespect. And he is like, for some reason, I thought you were following me in the room. I jumped on the bed and like you were going to jump on me. But instead I fell asleep. And I was like, that's too I don't like the passive phrasing. Well, that's not passive phrasing. Like suddenly I was napping. It was direct. I felt like he didn't take ownership of the fact that he chose to fall asleep. Like you choose to lay still and close your eyes until you fall asleep. Like it's not narcolepsy, right? And this absolute butthole goes, I understand that. I am so sorry how disrespected you felt. I fully admit that was my fault. I didn't understand how upset it made you. I understand that you would be that upset. I am going to try so much harder in the future to make sure that you feel respected and that I don't do something like that again. I was so pissed. The rage I had at that, I was like, well, dude, how am I supposed to push back on that? Like, that was such a fair, kind, like, blame-taking response. Like, what am I can't, right? Asshole. So then later, because I have to reflect, I'm like, oh, maybe I overreacted. Maybe that wasn't worth a 2-day silent treatment. Maybe your hormones or yes, I am going to blame perimenopause, and that's fine because it's me and I get to say things like that. But I was like, later I came back, I was like, hey, maybe I overreacted and I'm really sorry. And he's like, yep. Shocked that you can see that. And I was like, well, I can't. Stupid. But yeah, so I absolutely overreacted. But his calm, level-headed buttholeness. Ugh, that's not even fair. I'm supposed to be able to yell at him so much more. But no, he's like, oh, I'm going to take responsibility for my actions. Ugh. So anyways, I'm divorcing him. Well, I'm going to go to our anniversary together. That's what we'll do at our anniversary. We'll be like, you know what? The food was disappointing. We both agree. But you know what's more disappointing? This marriage, divorce. And that I think would be fun. It would be a cute story to tell later. So yeah. What else was I going to tell you? Like, that was one of my stories. I don't know. Oh, so if you're here this long, I was going to shameless plug my podcast. I started a podcast because I feel like I was peer pressured into it, to be honest. And it's called Cultmunity Podcast. I'm going to put like the thing here and I will drop the description in the description box below. It's a lot less fun. It's a lot less nonsense and a little bit more serious. And I'm just talking about things I'm thinking about. And hopefully I will get guests on eventually so then I can tell them how amazing I am. But yeah, so if you want to, go check that out because, I want 1,000 subscribers. I want to see what happens there. I want to get the subscribers and then I want to build. And then I can convince everybody to join our Cultmunity and the zombies won't even have a chance. And it's not so much the zombies coming to eat us, like that's the initial thing, but other factions will pop up and I need our cult to be the strongest cult out of all the cults so we can out-cult them, right? I think that's good. And if the zombies don't come, I would say statistically speaking, 99.9% of all cults eventually become a sex cult. So, I mean, you could be in for a good time, right? Oh my God. I feel like you would have to keep up on shaving your legs so much more often if you were in a sex cult. Because it feels like, that's got to be a priority. Like they have to, because you can't just be like, yeah, it is a sex cult, but like, we usually have headaches and like, I'm really tired from being stressed out at work. So like maybe next month kind of thing. Like, so I feel like you'd have to shave your legs all of the time and our armpits because I do not care. We're not armpit people. We're not armpit hair people, but also I can't stand how it feels. And then I was watching, what was that show? It was the precursor to Yellowstone, but it was a year, and I'm going to say the wrong year. I want to say it was like 1795, 1895, 1897. It doesn't matter, but Tim McGraw and his wife, Faith Hill, I believe, were some of the stars, and I love them so much. I love them loving each other so much, and I love them individually loving each other so much, and I love them in the show. But the younger daughter who was starring, she is like a young woman. She's blossoming into her womanhood. And one of it, she's laying on her back with her arms above her head with her brother. And her brother like mentions her armpit hair. And she's like, oh, when you get older, you'll get it, And then she tickles him and then they go about their lives, which is probably true. I highly think that everybody had armpit hair and leg hair and nobody's out there shaving. I don't even think that was a beauty standard at the point. And I kind of need to know when that came in. Somebody Google that for me. I'm too busy. I'm a very important YouTuber. Somebody Google that and drop it in so I can know. But anyways, clearly armpit hair was a thing. And so took me completely out of the show because I started obsessing about the idea like, okay, did she grow it out? And how uncomfortable was that grow out phase? Because once it's grown out, it's not like thick, stubbly hair. It's like soft hair, right? I also saw another video documentary. This woman, she also grew out her armpit hair and she put her arms above her head, rubbed her armpit hair and said, it's soft like a squirrel. And my brain will never let that memory go. It lets almost all other memories go. I can't remember what day this is that we're talking about. I can't remember where I set my phone last. I have a whole saga about coffee beans that I have zero memory, but very distinct memories about. But the squirrel armpit hair, that's going to stay in there. That's burned in there on my deathbed. I'm going to be like squirrel armpit hair, right? Anyway, so either she grew it out and has squirrel armpit hair, or it's like a piece that they glued into her armpit, and I need to know which it is. And then she's an actress, right? So she is living her day-to-day life with this crazy armpit hair during all of filming. Wow, that's weird. How often did they think her armpits were going to be shown? Did they pull her aside and they're like, listen, just for one real quick thing, we're going to need your armpit hair to be amazing? But she does have sleeveless on at another point in the movie, but I didn't see her armpits enough. I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to go back and look at the armpits, and I'll let you guys know. I will report back every time I saw her armpits, season, it's only one season, episode, timestamp. I will let you know, and I'll be like, squirrel, right? Not the traditional squirrel, armpit squirrel. Different. All right, I'm going to take a drink of water. Hold on 1 second, guys. All right, speaking of my unfair memory being stupid, the other day, I think during this week of my trials and tribulations, I ran out of coffee. It was nighttime and I ran out of coffee. I was getting ready to make the next day's coffee and I looked and there was none. There was none. And I was like, no, I know better. I am a prepper. I am a prepper who prioritizes the important things, such as the coffee. It's one of my big things where I'm like, zombies coming, coffee. I want the coffee. And sometimes I think, how far along into the apocalypse am I going to lose access to coffee? And then I was like, how does one grow coffee? What is the climate? I know you can grow coffee in Hawaii because I used to drive by a coffee plantation. Is that the correct phrase? I don't think it's a farm, but it's kind of, so almost everything is Dole pineapples, almost everything, because Dole bought all of it and all of it is pineapples. But there was this tiny little chunk on the way to North Shore that was also coffee beans. But we're not going to Hawaii, so I don't know. Can you grow coffee beans in Georgia? These are things I need to Google. What does that entail? How long does it take for me to get my coffee? Also, side note, why is such a big thing of influencers their own coffee where they're like, we roast our own coffee and I can ship it to you? Why is that the thing? Because I know you're like, listen, maybe you churn out some pretty decent content, but I know your ass is not supposed to be roasting coffee beans. That is not a skill that you just have. And all of a sudden I'm going to be like, these are the best effing coffee beans in my life. The margins on it must be phenomenal. It has to be so good. So that means you have cheap, gross coffee beans from God knows where, probably Canada, awful. And then you're just rebranding it with your brand and then selling it because any influencer's coffee beans, if you've ever looked into it, breathtakingly expensive. Stop that. Stop that. I'm not saying you have to have like Folgers prices, but like you can't sell me whole bean coffees. That's clearly what Folgers made their coffee out of. Because by the way, in case you're curious, Folgers is disgusting. If any new Canadians just wandered in and they're like, oh, shot across the bow with Canada, it's a joke. Mostly. but I do love Canada. I love some people in Canada. I don't love most Canadians. Canada, Meg, you, Jerry, Cozy, all of you guys, all of the Canadians who follow me. I love different Canadians than you. And that is important for me to tell you. Talking about, okay, so coffee beans, right? That's where we are. Why am I talking about? Okay, so yes. Okay, so I was out of coffee beans. That reminds me, I talked to a therapist during this week, which is another anxiety trigger. And she's like, what makes you think you have ADHD? And I literally had to say, oh, I have a YouTube channel and everybody in my comment section says I do. And she's like, what? And I was like, I don't know what to say about that. That's just true. Everybody says I do. So I would like to confirm or deny, especially if I can deny and be like, I don't have ADHD, idiots. And then I will lord that over you. And if I do have ADHD, I will use it to be my entire personality. And I love that about me. Coffee beans. Okay, so coffee beans. So I was out of coffee beans. I had one mason jar of ground coffee that I had taken on a trip but didn't use all up. So that was the sad, pathetic coffee that I was able to use. P.S. I take this, I put it in my car to take it to Goodwill. It is still in my car. It's wildly inconvenient, but we did not make it to Goodwill yet. But I know prior to running out of coffee, because I've intentionally not bought coffee, I bought 3 or 4 giant 20-pound bags of whole bean coffee. I remember putting it in my cart from Sam's Club and thinking, whole beans, Mark's going to hate this. That's funny, but they keep longer. Whole beans last way longer than ground, but we've decided to be breathtakingly lazy and only buy 20 pounds of ground coffee. It just doesn't keep as long. And so I wanted to get back into the whole bean, and then we grind it ourselves, and then we compliment ourselves on how bougie we are. And I didn't have any. I checked my pantry, none in there. I looked at my plethora of boxes that I had in the front from a couple videos ago. No coffee beans in there. Where are my coffee beans? I had such vivid memories. I went through my Amazon shopping cart. I went through my Sam's Club shopping cart. Could not find these coffee beans anywhere. And I swear I ordered them. And so I was talking to my friend Megan, and she's like, oh, like false memory, because she's a liar who's a therapist, which, so she was gaslighting me into the idea that maybe I just didn't buy them, and then charged me a copay, which was rude. And I Venmoed her $3,000. That's her copay. And you guys, I think I found them. I think they're in a box in my laundry room that I'm still refusing to open, because the hope that it's the whole bean coffee and I'm not losing my mind is so delicious to me that I'm putting off the suspense. I don't want to open it and it's just kitty litter or something stupid like that. I'm thrilled at the idea of being I knew it. I effing knew it. None of you guys believed in me. I believed into myself the whole time. I knew about these coffee beans and I would reign victorious. Oh, actually, this week would have been a good week to do that because I was struggle busting so hard I could have used the win. Now I have a little bit of regret, but that's fine. It's fine. Everybody has regrets, right? Especially my bank coming up. They will rue the day. The ruining that will happen will be breathtaking, and I don't even care. If you're curious, I am just picking up a lot of stuff and dumping it in my room, my bathroom, and the laundry room. And those places are hideous nightmares at this point, but that's fine. All we want to do is clean the main living space, right? I think you can't see, but I think I peeled my rug that's under my kitchen table up and it's in the wash, I think. Yeah, I think that happens around this time frame because I am changing laundry over and I have to fold these stupid things. Yeah, so I should open up that package and see. Okay. I think on this day, I am waiting for a mental health teleappointment with the VA. Now, I have a really hard time with VA mental health specifically. Sometimes VA in general, because they are just baffled at my womanliness because, traditionally speaking, most veterans are dudes. Okay. And they're very geared towards dudes to the point that they tested on my urine test. They tested me for pregnancy. Sure. Thank you for that. But they also tested to see if there was sperm in my urine. And later I asked and they're like, oh, actually, it's just like a blanket test. That's actually for men. And I was like, yeah, well, look at me. Sperm free in my urine. I am winning, right? I genuinely thought that it was going to be like somehow a backdoor way of being like proof that you're sexually active. And yeah, I'm not confessing to taking any sort of birth control. So they're going to be like, aha, you need birth control. Where I'm like, thank you, but no, I'm not, it's fine. It's been 12 years since my last child. I think I have it under control. What a weird pivot. You guys, this video's too long. I'm getting all weird. Anyways, I just genuinely thought that they were going to do that, but no, it was a dude test. And she's like, look forward to having your prostate examined, which I am. To be honest, I would like to monitor my prostate as much as humanly possible. I'm already on my testosterone. We're going to get the penis. I'm sure the prostate follows soon enough after. And I would like to be careful. I would like to be monitored for it. So the VA healthcare is for mental health, I would say piss poor, if I might say myself. There's a statistic out there that 22 veterans every day, I don't know if it's dropped, but it was back when I was, I would say about 10 years ago, they would consistently repeat this to us, that 22 veterans each day decide to opt out. And sounds accurate, especially because of how the VA treats us. It's like they say, go ahead, I dare you. I feel like that's like the come at me, bro, is their technique to mental health. So I have tried and then wildly abandoned using their services numerous times, right? And to the point that now I am like, listen, I am in a really good space and I don't want to keep drumming this up. But I do have an appointment with her and I'm like, I think she's going to do it. I think she's going to pull it up. I think when I am like, listen, I want to talk about my medical anxiety. That's something I would like to get coping skills for. And do I have ADHD? Those are the only two things I want to talk about. I feel like she's going to be like, what was like the worst thing about Iraq? Like, I really do feel like she's going to do that to the point that I like craft a statement and send it to Millennial Meg, who charged me a copay. And I was like, tell me how this looks if I can just set this boundary with my therapist right off the bat. And she's like, send me $3,000 at your copay. So I did. I Venmoed her real quick. When she got that confirmation, she read it and she's like, it's fine. Have a good day. And so I had it prepared and I am just like getting so anxious. I am so anxious. So I have the stress of the RV situation that jumps on top of my anxiety that the VA is going to harm me, right? It feels like it is fight or flight. It is fight or flight. And I think that they're going to hurt me, right? And I've never talked to this mental health person before. When I had to do my intake, I'm not kidding. When I had to do my intake, they asked a bunch of questions. I did not think it was going to get into any sort of PTSD, but it absolutely did. And this woman who wasn't thinking, because I don't think she's fit to work with veterans in a very nice way, but true. She was like, oh, on one of your markers, because you have to give, first of all, you have to give your full name and your current actual address of where you were physically sitting during that meeting. And then they save it and they literally tell you it's so that they can call EMS in case you decide to be one of the 22 that day. That's how you know how bad they are. Anyways, that's fine. That's fine. We're all okay. So, and then you fill out a screener. My screening always pings for PTSD, which is shocking because I have an actual 100% disability diagnosis from the VA with that. So it flares often. And by often, I mean all the time. And she's like, oh, you like flagged for this. And I was like, yeah, of course. It's my actual literal diagnosis. That's like if you had diabetes, people are like, oh, your blood sugar is weird and you're on insulin. Could it be diabetes? I'm like, yes, Asshole, that's why I have the insulin. New day, by the way. Gonna show you from the beginning again because I want you to see like where my progress was and how bad it gets again. It just feels important. There's the kitchen rug that is on the ottoman. So we pulled it from the dryer, put it on the ottoman. Here's my oh, hold on. I wanted you guys to see that there's stuff on the floor over here and that my coffee area is gross. And here's my effing kitchen again. Again, like, it's very frustrating. It just is. And this area is gross. Everything's gross all of the time. And I'm like, but yes, today is the day. Mark got home late the night before. And I'm like, the night before, I was like, I will have a clean house for him to come home to. I know I will. I just couldn't that day. I couldn't. It was Thursday. So it was the day after my VA appointment, which I will loop back to. Don't worry about the side quest here. Also, I wanted to show you Two Beans. She's so cute. And I don't think I got off the couch. So here, I tried putting on a apron and like the feeling of it on my neck was bothering me and I couldn't handle it. And my heart this is the day after my VA appointment, but I am still in this big state of fight or flight. My anxiety is crazy. And I'm just stressed. Like the RV people are still stringing me along. And I'm to the point where I kind of thought maybe they would just fix it. Maybe they would see their mistake and correct it. I was benefited the doubting so hard, but there's zero chance. There's zero chance that they're going to correct it. This is going to be a significant issue that I will fight to I will fight to the death. That's how it is. So now I realize I can't even handle my hair touching me. That was too much stimulation as well. And so here's where we are. I got absolutely nothing done. I wanted to surprise my husband with a beautiful clean house when he came home. That didn't happen. So now for sure, I'm going to get it done, right? So this is Friday, which was yesterday when my video was supposed to be out for you. No. And I also have anxiety about the video not being out for you guys. And I know you guys are going to be like, don't worry about it, Beth. Protect yourself first. But it is a business. I should treat it as a business. I should treat YouTube with more respect and dedication, especially if I have to pay off this effing RV loan. Okay. Also, curious, really quickly, anybody who has any knowledge about RV loans and like diabolical banks and stuff like that, if I do pay it completely off in full before it's resolved, can I still fight them for the money that they're stealing from me, the thousands and thousands of dollars that they're taking from me? Can I still go after them for that? Or like, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's still like $100,000 that I have to pay off. So I'm not looking at that anytime soon. So VA. Okay. So I was talking about the VA, right? And I was doing a screening call because she wanted to match me with an actual therapist. She was a doctor, but I don't know what kind, like a mental health doctor, but I don't know. So I flagged for the PTSD and she's like, oh, and then instead of just simply being like combat related, which it's documented, literally documented, because even if it's not combat related, you don't get the benefits. Probably. I said that with a lot of confidence, but now I doubt myself. And she's like, oh, what's it from? I'm like, what the hell? Right? And so like, I had to be like, I went to Iraq. It was a thing. She's like, oh yeah. And then she's like, I'm like always so jealous of people who do things with their lives. Cause I feel like, I'm in my 30s and I haven't. And I was like, ma'am, that is inappropriate. Do not be jealous. Do not have somebody tell you about their trauma and be like, I wish I traveled more. Like, you know what? You can have the opportunity. Why don't you go somewhere wildly terrible and you could just live it up, live your best life? So anyway, so like I'm on edge and the therapist comes on and she's like, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, my medical anxiety And I'd like to not be spun up anytime there's an ache and pain. I don't want to be like, is it worms? Are worms eating through my brain? It's cancer. It's the worst case scenario. I would love that. And I would love to be able to take medication that would actually benefit me without throwing it up or like wanting to claw it out of my skin or anything like that. And then I was like, I also am very scared that you want to talk about PTSD and I do not want to talk about PTSD. And she's like, no worries. Why would that come up? And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Thank you so much. So I was all spun up about that. It turned out not really to be anything that I had to worry about, but I'm already like too late spiraling. Don't worry about that for me. And so all of that anxiety is spilling over to this anxiety, and my heart rate is so up, and I'm having trouble focusing, and I'm feeling miserable. But as my house gets more clean, as I make progress, my anxiety starts going down. So now that the main living space is clean, my bedroom's not clean. It's not clean, in case you're curious. My laundry room's gross. But the main part of my house that we can hang out in is so calm and quiet and pretty that I feel so good. It took so much off of me. And this is the first time, honestly, I think I've had a mental health breakthrough in regards to cleaning previously, but it's not this. It's not this at all. This was having a clean home that looks pretty helped soothe me out of one of my spirals. And now that the stupid mental health thing is behind me, also in front of me, because she's like, I can't just tell you if you have ADHD today. And I was like, dead to me. So we have to like investigate that further. And then I had to take like this ADHD quiz, and it's so not set for people who were in the military, because like one of the questions was like, do you ever get up out of your chair during a meeting when it would be inappropriate? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. Never, ever would I ever move from a spot if I'm not supposed to. Like I can stand still like a statue for an hour if necessary. Like I don't want to do push-ups all day long. I can sit still. And then there was like another couple where you're just like they're like, oh, if you're running late. And I was like, that would never happen. Nope. No, I'm 10 minutes early or else I'm late. Like, nope. That time showing up for things is one of my favorite things. I have to show up early. It's not my favorite. I hate going places, but you know what I mean, right? And there were two others where I was just like, that doesn't apply to anybody who ever was in the military or is currently in the military. They would rather die. Like I'll cut my legs off before that situation happens, right? And so Megan, who charged me a copay, was like, you're supposed to answer it as if like you didn't have modifiers, which her advice was very late because I had already filled out the form and I was telling about it after the fact. So I think I'm going to issue a clawback for that copay because it was not timely. And she needs to stop charging me $3,000 copays every time we text. Apparently she's going to buy an RV and then loan it to me for 10.26 interest rate. Oh, I'm devastated. So yeah, I am feeling so much better. Also, my husband's home. So that probably gives a huge relief as well. I love having him around. I just do. And then, okay, no, it doesn't come up yet. I'll tell you about it later. So yeah, that's the end of that story. I am feeling so much better because my house is organized and beautiful. My husband's home. I'm back at getting ready to fight the RV. Also, okay, so I know I wasn't going to make everything about it, but I want you to know that I requested a printout of all of the transactions and they sent it to me. And it's so bad. It's so bad, but at least I have the printout of it. That is so bad. And now, we can pull my records and get like a forensics accountant or a lawyer or something like that. I'm going to have some accountants look at it. I've got plans. I have plans in action, and that is what we will do. Okay. Oh my God, here my hip popped out. My hip popped out of its joint a little bit, and right back in. So I don't know how far out it went, but it hurt so bad. I felt it go kunk kunk out in. And it hurt so bad. I recover from it, but like, okay, that's where we are in life. Walking is a danger, a physical danger for me. My joints are just like, no, that's too many steps today. We're just going to give up. Like, hate that for me. Also, I got so many steps in on this day. So prior to starting the clean, I had to do my outdoor workout for 45 minutes and I went on a walk. Then I cleaned my house and I was at about 4,000 steps at that point. And then I had to go for another 45-minute walk. It was super amazing. Oh, so tired. I did it immediately after finishing this clean. I immediately went into my walk so that I could sit down because I needed to sit down so badly. It was miserable. Okay. I had this rug off for about 2 days, so all sorts of junk and spills and everything got onto the mat, and I still refuse to remove the tags for the mat in case I like unpuzzle it and have to repuzzle it, and you guys can't see the tags when the rug's on, so that doesn't bother me at all. But that's why there's little white speckles on everything. It's got an alphabet number on it, alphabet letter. I understand that there's a difference. And for you to assemble correctly. And I'm too scared to take them off. I checked and I was like, yep, that's exactly in the camera's way. And then I moved it because I am checking my camera frame. Oh, I'm bragging about that a little bit too early. In a few minutes, the recording stops and I don't notice. It really pissed me off. So while I am a very good YouTuber and I moved that thing, I'm a terrible YouTuber because my camera shuts off and that sucks. But the kitchen table and everything like that had been bothering me so much that I was really excited. And I haven't moved the kitten tree and everything like that and swept out from under it ever, maybe. And so this was well needed and super gross. Look at all this. Ugh. I moved the table on my own because all of my kids are still sleeping. Because I have teenagers and it's not, 3 p.m., for them to wake up and bless me with their presence. And then when I go out, I went out to get a drink of water and Motrin. Oh my God, I'm going to tell you about my Motrin in a minute. And one of my kids was up and I was like, it's time to go to bed. And she's like, but I'm being quiet. And I was like, yeah, but it's 2 a.m. Like, don't you want to try to sleep? Just like, ugh, no. Okay. So I am trying this new thing. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's new. I saw it on Instagram Reels because I still refuse to go on TikTok. It's called, what is it called? It's called posture. And you have your shoulders in the correct position where they're back and down and like you have correct posture. It's very, very strange, very bizarre. I think it was invented in Spain or something like that, but I'm trying it. And so they have different techniques of how to roll your arms to get your shoulders in the correct position. And so I tried that. And then they have different exercises to try to engage those muscles because our shoulders are rolled forward usually, right? Because we're hunched over, our shoulders roll forward, we're lazy pieces of crap. And so I'm like, okay, let's try this. And so one of them, and I'm literally doing it while I'm voiceovering to you. So I'm sorry you can't see me, but I am demonstrating, I promise. You put your arms up either in a Y or goalpost. So a Y is clearly your hand, YMCA, right? Goalpost is more straight up overhead. And then you pull your elbows down and a little bit back, but like you pull those shoulder blades together and then up and then down, right? So they're either Y's to W's or like upper goalpost to lower goalpost. I don't have anything cute to say for that. So that's one. And then there's another one where you have your arms, so your shoulders are rolled back and your arms are 90-degree angles, palms facing forward, and you pump your elbows back towards your back, and you're like, ha, ha. I do make that noise. My husband really made fun of that, but you're pumping them back, right? So you're doing that. What was another one? There's another one. Anyways, I did like 5, maybe 6 of them. Had to take an Advil to go to sleep. Just holding my shoulders in the correct posture, my muscles are like, what are we doing? Oh my God, what is this? They're acting like I ran a marathon. They're just giving up on life. And it hurts. It's like so hard to fall asleep because my whole back and shoulders are like, oh my God, could you imagine? We were in the correct position all day, like catastrophic pain. And I am grateful that I can take Motrin at this time. And so I had to take it to go to sleep. And that like really got me thinking of the old Aleve commercials where they were like, you could take 2 Aleve and the hand opens up and shows you the 2 Aleve in the palms, or this many Tylenol. And I swear to God, it was like 17 Tylenols, or this many Advils. And it was like 10 Advils to get the pain relief of this Aleve. And it was a man probably in his 40s, but like they were just doing regular things like putting something in a truck. They weren't like doing anything crazy. And it was like, oh, back pain, oh, back pain. And I was like, what are these? Like, how pathetic are you that you need daily pain management just to live your life? Like, you idiots, right? Here I am, daily pain management so I can go to sleep because I tried to hold my shoulders in the correct posture. So I'd like to go back to, in time, even though I never said it to his face and he doesn't know I exist, that one actor in the Aleve commercial who grabbed his lower back after putting something in a truck. And I would like to say, sir, I get it. You probably were trying to use correct posture and everything exploded on you. Like, that sucks. Okay, so I had to get Calvin, who is not quite tall enough to be able to do this well, to help me. And he probably needs some Aleve after this. But we're just moving it. I'm very proud of him. Twins are still asleep because it's probably only 4 p.m. And so we get it mostly correct. And somehow, it looks pretty centered. But when I get the chairs back, it's obviously off to one side. And that upsets me so much. Like, what is happening? Why did it look mostly centered? And now it's super not centered. And don't come at me and be like, reupholster your chairs. I will do it when I feel like it, guys. I am slaying dragons over here and fighting demons. And how gross my bench looks does not impact my day-to-day. And I will do it when I feel like it. Like, when I run out of content ideas, if I ever clean my house and maintain it, then we'll have to go on side quests. That reminds me, I was talking to somebody at some point, and we were talking about, she asked me if being a content creator was toxic. And I was like, I don't think it's toxic. I just don't. And then I was talking about how there's a weird juxtaposition between being successful YouTuber and trying to get my life together and like cleaning my house and trying to stay on top of cleaning my house, that I need to make progress. Like, I need to move forward and progress and get a cleaner house. But if I eventually have a clean house, I lose most of what I used to be, right? It's the same as weight loss channels where they're on their weight loss journey. But once they lose their weight, you can't like lose weight until you die, right? I can only clean my house so far until I have a clean house. And the natural progression, which I refuse. But I understand the natural progression for me would be, okay, now I keep my house clean. I'm going to pivot to minimalism. And I never would. Minimalism's stupid. And if you're like, oh, I'm a minimalist, I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm saying everything you think is stupid. Just kidding. I'm kidding unless you're Canadian. Then it's serious. So I like, it's weird because it's like I'm incentivized to not get better. I'm incentivized to not clean and let things get worse. Throw stuff on the floor. See, I didn't say shit. I'm amazing. Just let things get as bad as humanly possible and then clean, because those are the moneymakers, right? But I hate that idea. I do not like that idea. I don't want it. I want to improve myself. And so that genuinely, because I guess the pivot for me to be minimalist, and then once I get rid of all of my things, then where do you go? Because there is like a toxic level of minimalism. There comes a point where like it becomes an obsession. How few things can I have? And you start getting rid of things that like might be necessary or might be something that your kids would have wanted. Like there's a point where maybe you should stop giving your stuff away and being like, no, I don't want anything. I want one cup, one fork, one chair that I sleep in because I don't want a bed. I just like a chair works just as well for me. Sad. So I'm not going to do that, which is why I am doing vlogs now, because if and when I do not want to, okay, hold on. I have to say a full sentence. I'm saying 3 sentences at once, and that's not going to work for any of us. Okay. I'm starting to do vlogs. I'm mixing my vlogs in, period. Because I want to be successful at maintaining my life and actually not having a disaster house all of the time. But I need to find a way that my financial YouTube success isn't pinned to not getting better. Okay, so here's one that it's very much in my YouTube algorithm wheelhouse, and some of it might not be for you guys. There's a creator, Amber Lynn Reed. She has been on YouTube over 10 years, I believe, and started on a weight loss journey. And she was obese. She was obese. I will give her that. She was pretty heavy, but she was like, I don't know, 300 pounds. I genuinely do not know. What I know, I watched a documentary about her, and that's what I knew from like the beginning. So I didn't follow her or anything like that. I don't actually actively watch her. I watch Mr. Snowflake, who does like documentaries, and I like that. So I've heard things in the background about her, but I do not watch her channel because I think it's financially supporting somebody who is slowly ending it. But she's been on a health journey on YouTube for over 10 years, and she's at least 200 pounds heavier. She doesn't often, I think at one point she got to 600 pounds. I'm not exactly sure, but it seems debilitating. Her life is very much restricted. She's basically housebound, but she's a very successful YouTube channel. That's where she gets all of her finances. So like, she's financially incentivized to die before she's 40 because of what her YouTube channel is based off. That's her income. Like, what job is she going to get that pulls the number she has? There isn't. She doesn't have the physical ability to stand very long, sit very long, leave her house, so I think about things like that a lot. Nikado of Avocado did it very successfully. That was crazy, but that was weird. He did a completely different thing where he was a healthy, thin, trim, eat with me, and he was sweet. And then he financially, the worse he ate, the more awful he behaved, the more money he got. He got excessively overweight, wildly, wildly overweight. But then behind the scenes, he filmed about 2 years of content overweight. Clickbait, rage bait, disgusting, right? And then just showed up one day, very slim, lost all the weight. That was crazy. So, but now I haven't heard anything about him since. Like, that happened. And now what's happening with him? Does he even have a paycheck? I don't know. So then she goes, and long story short, she goes, oh, it does sound like being a creator is toxic. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't think of it that way. So it is something I'm thinking about. Like, I'm still very early in my YouTube career, my YouTube run of things, if you will, so that I can sprinkle this stuff in now and I don't pigeonhole myself into, okay, let's see if I could get to hoarder's level. Let's see if I could get for the rage bait of it, like I just don't like all of a sudden be like, okay, well, yes, I had palmetto bugs, but I live in Georgia, but like having actual sorry, Jamie, chaotic, that had nothing to do with you. Actual roach infestations from like disgusting leftover food and stuff like that, like have them scatter across the countertops and be like, ooh, clean with me. Or, you know what I mean? Because that is the other progression for me. That's the other natural progression for me, is to slowly collapse into being worse. And I refuse. I refuse. So knowing that now, I'm branching out in a different direction into where it's going to be more like lifestyle vlogs, pull that to where I check, there is a dead palmetto bug in that thing. Sometimes they crawl up there and they get caught. And I'm like trying to think of the best way to get rid of it, but I'm really freaked out that it will reanimate and then crawl into my mouth. And so I just use the vacuum thing. Luckily, it stays dead the whole time. It doesn't go in my mouth. It does go into that little trashy thingy, the canister. And then when I plug my vacuum back in, the canister self-empties into a vacuum bag, so I never have to deal with it. This was a sponsored product. It's a You Want vacuum. I do like it. It's handy. I wish the suction was harder, like a little bit more aggressive, but I feel like if you have a cordless vacuum, that's just what you get. I feel like corded vacuums are super suckers, and uncorded vacuums are way more convenient, but don't have that powerful suction because it's not tethered to your house electric, I guess. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with this desk. I don't know. In my mind, it absolutely fit over there. If I moved the bookshelf, it would fit in that corner. It doesn't. It's not even close to fitting over there. That sucks. So now I'm like, okay, what if it fits in this corner, but I wanted to mop before just in case it's phenomenal and it goes in that corner. I'm like, okay, let's mop first. I do love my Bona mop the most because I also have, same sponsor, I have that Spot vacuum. Well, it's a vacuum mop. That one I really only like for like spills and cleaning up small things. But when I'm like doing a deep house clean, I prefer to use my Bona mop and my floor spray. It's just my preference. Okay, so this technically fits. However, if I do a live stream, I have to clean my house. That seems difficult. And I could do live streams facing right the desk. I would have good natural light from the yard, but if any of my kids walk behind me, I can't really control and monitor that on a live stream enough to clip it out. And it's too risky. I could put a backdrop like my husband has behind his desk, but I think it's the ugliest thing ever. I hate it and I wish he didn't have it. So that's where we land. So I make a decision, hold on, and I get one of my kids to help me, and this is what happens. I settled on taking the desk upstairs. I had Sonia help me. It was not enough, so then Sammy had to help me. It was not enough, so Kevin had to come take off a door. I damaged flooring and drywall. Don't look at that, that's messy. Flooring. Flooring, drywall, F word. And that's as far as I got it because F that thing. Calvin had to help me take this door off. And I'm sweating profusely. I gotta turn off that AC because I don't want another $500 electric bill. I'm sad. Okay, so I do all of that. And then I text my husband. I made a bad choice and ended up scratching the landing and damaging drywall. And I sent him the 3 pictures of basically what I showed you guys. And then I wrote, the big desk is now upstairs. It took all 3 kids and they almost died. Genuinely thought I would be stuck holding it until you got home, but I got Calvin to take the door off the room upstairs. Let me know how long between ruining things and asking for takeout is best. I immediately followed up with, yeah, I'm not cooking tonight, by the way. I'm very sweaty. I'm going to talk about this rug in a second. And so he was working, so he didn't respond right away. And then he responded with, Elizabeth Moving Services, 2 stars, damaged my furniture, stairs, drywall, and nearly squashed my children. Would be 0 stars, but she has awesome boobs. So yeah, that was his response to me doing all of that damage. He's very chill. Okay, so this rug, this giant rug, you guys, I loved the runner rug so much that I went and found its pattern in a larger rug. And I was like, yes, because in my mind, you can't see it as well, but in my mind, I'm like, yes, because you'll walk in and then there's like continuity from both doors, this pattern. I really, really, really like it. I think it makes the rug under the kitchen table not good. It doesn't look as cute. So I might get a different rug underneath that table. Oh, I actually know which one. I'll use my dark black ruggable rug under the kitchen table. And that's what we're going to do until January, February. And I need to switch everything out into a lot more colorful. But this I'm really into. I really want more color in my home, even though I get black and white's not a color, but at least it's not like pale, right? I feel pretty excited about this choice. And you'll see when it all comes together. So that's how that went. It was a terrible choice. Genuinely thought I was going to be trapped holding that desk because the option is to let it go. It would fall down the first part of the stairs and smash into the wall on the landing. And that would have been way more damage. So I was like, what am I going to do? Have the kids call my husband and just hold it until he gets home to help me fix it? Like that would be crazy. That would me holding it for 45 minutes. No, thank you. So we did have to take the door off. It was so wedged. And my kids did such a good job under pressure because I was yelling at them. The pressure, 100% pressure. I was not cool, calm, collected. I was like, get the effing screwdriver, put it in that screw and undo the door. But Calvin handled it like a champion. Sammy's like, I told you this was a bad idea. I was like, when? When did you tell me this was a bad idea? Like, I just thought of this idea and made you come do it. She was right. It was such a bad idea. And yeah, and then Sony was like, oh no, I was like, I'm telling Dad it was your idea. I'm telling him it was your idea, your fault. And she's like, no. The second he came home, she's like threw me under the bus. She's like, Dad, come upstairs. I want to show you something. I was like, you butthole. So that was fun. Anyway, at this point, I am feeling pretty motivated about cleaning. Oh, also, I moved this lamp back, but I don't test it. It's broken. It does not work. So that's fun. Honestly, I think my editing software is going to crash in a second. So I'm very nervous about that because we are so into this voiceover that I really, really need it to just work. All right. So I am feeling motivated because I don't know, this part of my house looked really gross for a while and I haven't addressed it. Like you've seen me pretend like I'm cleaning this part, but I've just been letting stuff gather on this chair and there hasn't been a rug there in a while. And for some reason, rugs make everything look so much better. And so, yeah, I'm pretty happy. This green chair, which reminds me, I'm going to tell you the story about the green chair. I've told you guys before, but maybe you didn't hear it, so I'm going to tell you again anyways. It's covered in sweet potato hair. She loves sitting. She sits on the arm, right? I'll show you in a second. I'll say there and you'll know. And on these pillows so she can stare outside at all of the things that are happening and survey her kingdom. And there's so much sweet potato hair all over this chair. It's very, very cute. Right here. That's where she sits. She props herself up on part of a pillow and right there and just hangs out. And she just loses fur all of the time. You saw it on the stairwell. Like it just comes out of her. I thought having a Rottweiler was a lot of shedding and that I wouldn't have to deal with it after Beauty passed. Sweet Potatoes here holding it up. She's on team. All of my fur goes everywhere and drives Mom crazy. And I love that for her. Okay, so story time. I ordered this chair from Wayfair and I ordered for it to be unboxed. Like you can add in like deliver, unbox it, and put it where I want you to put it. And I have historically had a very terrible time with that with Wayfair. When we lived in Oregon, I bought raised bunk beds for the twins, and one of them came with all of the parts and the second one didn't. And so we had to, and they assembled it. I made them assemble it. You pay extra. And so they had to disassemble the second one and take it back, shipped out a new one, brought people in to assembled it, missing a part. So then they were like, we won't disassemble this one. We'll order another one just for that part. And so it took like 6 months to get all of the pieces that I was supposed to. But Wayfair, like they were on it. They were like, yep, we won't charge you. We'll send out another. They were willing to send out as many as humanly possible, which was crazy. So I saw this chair and I was like, yes, I really want this. It looks really cozy. It's not that cozy, but I wanted it, and I wanted it brought in because I could just imagine the size of the box. And I didn't want to break down the box and then have the box. I wanted them to take it with them. And so the day comes and these two people deliver it, and the chair is absolutely destroyed on one side. And they're like, look, it's clearly broken. This is very, very broken. And I was like, take it back. We'll get a new one. And so they sent the second one. This is my replacement chair. And my house is clean for some God knows what reason, but it is. There's a straight shot from the front door to back here where I want it to go. I am ready. And so the first delivery guy shows up and he's like, hey, ma'am, we're here with your chair. I was like, I love that for us. I put Beauty the Rottweiler and Kesha in a room. We don't have Leroy. He doesn't exist at this time. And shut the door in my bedroom. And I shut the door. There's a solid chance I swallowed a bug. If you could give me 1 second. That was unpleasant. Okay, so I have my dogs locked in my room, and I showed the gentleman. I was like, here's where I want it to go. And he's like, great, sounds amazing. And he walks out, and I walk towards the door, and I turn my back to the door. I know that much. I think I'm kind of where my entryway bookshelf is. And I turn back around, and it's the second delivery guy coming in. And I look in his face, and the absolute terror that my body went into. All I knew was this man's dangerous, and you need to be careful. Like, sorry, the bug I swallowed. It's fine. It's protein. I think it's keto. Yeah, right? It's mostly keto. And so I was like, oh my God, like every part of me was like, fight him. Fight this man, get him out of your house. And so I just like took a couple steps back, and the other guy came in, and I felt a little bit safer about that. And then I went to my door so I could open it and Beauty could kill the guy if something happened, right? And I was just in so much fear. Just, I don't know what it was. I looked into his eyes and I knew. All of my intuition told me, like all of my ancestors' DNA that they had passed down, surviving stuff, they were like, this moment, watch yourself. Nothing happened, right? But they unboxed it, they put it in, I was like, great, that sounds great, leave. I locked all of the doors. I let my Rottweiler out. I made it very clear I had a Rottweiler. And then I called my husband at work and I was like, a very dangerous man dropped off this chair. I am very scared and I need you to know about it. And he was on his way home soon anyways. But I was really, really scared. So I called a neighbor to also let her know about my impending murder. And I was like, listen, this happens. This happened. And then she goes, you know what? I had a friend who had the same feeling one time. She opened the door, saw him, and her gut screamed, right? Screamed. And she tried to shut the door, and he came in, and she barely survived. At one point, he took her toddler and shoved him down the stairs, broke the toddler's arm, and she managed to get out. He was beating her. And she managed to get out in the middle of the street and collapsed. And that's when people like called 911 and stuff like that. I was like, That story did not make me feel better, to be honest. Like that story, not feeling any better at all. Like I'm texting Mark, I was like, get home now before I get beat to death. But yeah, so that was, and so now I don't actually like the chair. I don't like the chair because every time I look at the chair, I remember that man. I remember his eyes and I remember how scared I felt. I don't like the chair, but everybody else in the house loves the chair and it's a cozy spot and nothing happens, right? But like, it's kind of icky to me. Not a huge fan. So, anyways, that was that crazy story and I wanted you guys to know about it. Okay. Almost finishing in this zone. Very excited about it. Hate myself because kitchen is last. And I was annoyed when I was doing kitchen stuff that it was going to be last. But you saw in the previous two that I did do kitchen stuff and then gave up and never did rest of the house. So I just had to do rest of the house. And then I would have like forced the issue of the kitchen for the whole house clean to be done. Sorry. And so like that's what I chose to do. But I hate doing kitchen last. I hate it. Because it's the most labor intensive. Okay, so little vacuuming time. I don't know. And it felt very old Beth at this time. It felt very 2024 Beth. And I am physically exhausted. My feet hurt and my hips hurt. Not as bad as 2024 Beth's body would have, because now I have actual vitamin D stores inside my body and I'm on hormone replacement for perimenopause. So it's not as physically taxing. Because you guys remember, maybe not, don't care. Like now you'll know, I will inform you. If you guys remember 2024, everybody's like, do you have fibromyalgia? Your body hurts so bad. Is it fibromyalgia? It matches my symptoms and I have it. Like really, that was a very consistent theme in my comment section was, do you have it? So I got my vitamin D and my hormones tested and my vitamin D was critically low. It was so low. So I started on 10,000 IUs or whatever the measurement is, pills per week. I was given a shot of vitamin D in my tuchus. And also I had 0 progesterone, right? Like that, just none of that was happening. Okay. So here you guys, the canister, if you set it down, it sucks out all the things, but it was not capable of sucking out the Nerf dart tip that got jammed up in there. That's such a mom thing. But yeah, Nerf dart tip. And I dug it out of the canister and it hit the ground and rolled under the couch. And you know what? That's none of my business. What's under my couch is none of my business. And so we are just going to let it be down there and have the best time of its life. So we tested my hormones, and with the vitamin D supplementation and the hormone replacement therapy, I do not have the same symptoms that I had the year previously. I do not have the like deep aches in my bones. After I clean the house, I'm not physically in pain for 3 days. Like if I do a massive clean, like here, my feet hurt after, and I made Mark rub them. And also I made him order in dinner. I'm such a princess. And I feel fine today. I used to like the next day, it was hard to walk because my hips would hurt, my pelvic bones would hurt, my back would hurt. Like I would be in so much pain. And really, the only pain I'm experiencing is my stupid posture pain. My shoulders are giving up on life because I am trying to hold them in their normal spots and they say no. But that's it. And I love that. I really, really do love that. It's incredible what those hormones did for me. And vitamin D is a hormone, probably. And so that's what I mean. Having all of that to be able to be putting it into my system and I feel great. So I'm very happy. Not here. Here I'm annoyed with everything and everything's stupid. And I don't think I should have to clean house. And I think my YouTube channel should be about me getting treats and never gaining weight. But it's not. It's about me cleaning. It's stupid. Soon to be about vlogs, soon to be about retribution vlogs when I drive my RV to the bank and park in the parking lot. And they can't tow me because technically they own it. So F them, right? Right. So yeah, this part, I'm really excited. Watch, I think I turned the camera or I just leave this blank part in where you guys get to watch the floor dry. I'm not changing it because if I go back and change it right now, I will have to change my voiceover, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, so look. I really like it. I really do like it. I like the black. I like this. Maybe we'll get rid of the bad juju chair. Maybe that's right. So I do have some Amazon boxes, but that's for Monday's vlog. I want to show you guys that stuff then. And so the boxes stay for right now, but they will be taken care of Monday. Also, didn't know there was chalk up there. Certainly is. So we will address that at a different date. So that is all I wanted to say about that. These little gold lamps that I have, you charge them with USB charges, and then they hold the battery, and so you don't have to plug them in anywhere, and I absolutely adore them. They make me so happy, and the battery lasts longer than you would think. Like if you leave it on, if you use it for a few days and then leave it on all the way overnight, yeah, it's not thrilled, and so you just have to recharge it. I'm so happy. I'm going to buy a couple more and put them in different locations. I am trying to pull in more golds because I want to blend metals as well as introduce more colors, but I want to have more of the golds, the silvers, and the bronzes. Going for those Olympic vibes. What year? It's 2025. There's no Olympics this year, right? But next year, what is it next year? Is it winter? Winter or summer? It's summer and it's in Las Vegas. Nope, Los Angeles, right? I know the next one I think is in Los Angeles, and that just leads me to believe it has to be summer because where are they getting the snow? Where are they going to get the snow? Okay, so that reminded me actually of a story of when I was in high school, I was a cheerleader, and we would go to cheer camps in the summer. And one year we went to a cheer camp in Lake Tahoe, California, Nevada border, and not that far from where I grew up. So it wasn't crazy far from where I grew up. And we were talking to some boys. We found some boys. It was really cool. We found boys. It was amazing. And so it was a bunch of us staying in a house. Like this is before Airbnb. So like, how did that happen? How did we find a house for a bunch of cheerleaders to stay in? I don't know. But we found boys and we were staying in this house. I don't know how we got a house. It wasn't Airbnb because it was like 1998. So we were hitting on the boys, obviously. And one of the girls was like, so is there like, we were talking about skiing or snowboarding. And she was like, is there anywhere to like ski around here? And I was like, you idiot. They literally held the Winter Olympics here. What is the matter with you? But that's okay. We were just holding up that cheerleader stereotype. We just, we were going for all the points. But I don't know, that story just reminded me of that for some reason, where she was like, is there anywhere to ski around here? I'm like, all of it. That's its whole personality, is that people ski here and there's a lake. And then the Donner Party kind of, like, everybody has a reputation hit at some point. But, I mean, who hasn't thought about cannibalizing others? I know I have. Well, we talked about it on this channel. I don't actively want to eat people. I'm just saying, in a survivor situation, I wouldn't eat my kids. That's off limits. But I would absolutely want my kids to eat me, and I definitely would eat Mark. Well, I would want to keep him around as long as humanly possible because I feel like he'd fight other things and like build the fire and the structure that we were going to sleep in. So like we keep Mark around, right? He's a last case scenario, but I would eat him. But I absolutely like my cousin. Yeah, pretty early on, to be honest. I feel like that's as far away from my immediate circle of no, I wouldn't to yes, I would. 1 degree of separation. My cousin, yep, wouldn't be that great. Doesn't have a lot of fat on him. He's naturally skinny. It's very annoying. But yeah, I definitely, yeah. Strangers, 100%. Probably wouldn't wait for you to die of natural causes. I'd just go right off the bat. If I thought we were all going to be a little bit peckish, you're done for. Friends, I will wait until I'm hungry for like 2 meals. And then cousin, he's on day 3 of not eating. But like if they're like, people are coming, I'll be like, too late, still hungry. Come here, Eric. Right? So anyways, that's why I support Donner Pass. I don't know. I am going to take my kids there when we do our epic road trip because I'm going to run this RV to the ground. That's not the point. Don't get angry about that. But I think I'm going to take them to Donner Pass because apparently, yes, it was a huge tragedy and it's not funny. But I make fun of most tragedies. But apparently it's done really well and it's very informative to see. And if you read the story, it's so interesting to me. First of all, how terrible everything went and how it really didn't have to go terribly, but it did. But one of the interesting things was there were families, right? And then the families who really knew each other families, and then there were kind of like tag-alongs with them. And at some point during all of this, like they were eating their leather, they'd soak it and eat the leather. Like they were trying so hard, eating bark a lot, things like that. Like they were trying everything. And at some point, the tag-alongs were like, I can see which way the winds are blowing. I guess you can't see. Yeah, you can, because you can look at leaves. They're looking at the leaves of change of how long they had to survive. And they were like, we're totally going to be eaten. Like we are, I think maybe there's some casual cannibalism happening already, but they were like, we can't be here because we are not blood related to anybody. Like nothing is holding them back. And so they left and they kind of got stuck, if I'm recalling this correctly. If not, just don't Google it. Just take, all of this is alleged. And none of this is financial advice, clearly. And at some point, I think they also get a little bit stuck because the snow is up to your head. And then somebody stumbled upon them and then ate them. Like they tried to get away. They called it, still ended up being eaten. I definitely have to Google that story to make sure it's correct. I'm just here to tell stories. They don't have to be true. Besides, if I don't name them, it's not no, it is blasphemy. Well, they're not God. It's not slander or libel if I wrote it down, which I would. Hold on. I need to take a drink of water. Please hold. So yeah, that is my stance on cannibalism, which is fun because we only had to get an hour and 42 minutes into the video before I started talking about eating people. We got zombies right off the bat. Very proud of that. But the cannibalism comes later. Oh, I tried setting down my water bottle so hard. Oh, I'm putting my shoulders in the correct position and it's ouchy. Another instance of I thought I was filming, but I wasn't. That's why the floor is abruptly wet and I am mopping it again. It's hard sometimes. Also, I have to continuously monitor my camera at this point because it's almost dead. I was using it way too long. It was way too sad about it. Ooh, yeah, weird. Okay, so when I was doing this clean, I was actually listening to, there's a word for it and I can't remember the word, but it is the fetishizing of serial killers, like the women who fall in love with serial killers. Not like when, oh no, what's his name? He was so famous. He's like hot, right? He's the cute one. His name is, I can picture him. And the only name I can pull in my head is Dahmer because that came up again, which is weird because he was very clearly homosexual and he targeted boys, but he got women who were obsessed with him. Okay, what is his name? He's like the most famous one. He married somebody in court because of a really old law on the books that if you're in court in front of a judge, you could just be like, let's get married. And they say, yep. And then you're married. Up for Ted Bundy. Yeah. So they were talking about not like Ted Bundy's girlfriend where she didn't know that he was a serial killer. We're talking about during the trial, after they're convicted, those like pen pals writing you in prison, those women, the women who are obsessed with and like fetishize the moment, because apparently Bundy's MO, like his type were dark-haired women wearing hoop earrings and stuff. And like women would go to court with big hoop earrings. Some of them even dyed their hair. Like, is this terminal, I can fix them? Is that what that is? It's weird. And I think a big portion of it's like, oh, I'm special because he hasn't killed me. It's like, he hasn't killed you because he's in prison. You're just putting money on his books. Like, if he gets out, yeah, he might. Like, for a good time, yeah, he's probably tired. He spent decades not murdering people. I mean, now he's executed, which is very funny to me because he was very scared of it and he was openly scared about being executed. And it's like, I mean, good. I'm happy. I'm glad you're not resigned to your fates. Go in fearing it. That's what I want. So I was listening to somebody talking about that, and another one, which was insane. It's insane to me. Chris Watts, Family Annihilator, right? His young children, his wife, it's a thing. He has a ton of pen pals who are like sending him pictures of them in bikinis, being like, tee-hee, this is what I look like because I know what you look like, but, I hope you smile. Actually, what somebody did, people putting money on their books and stuff like that. And the majority of them are single moms. What the heck? Like, that's crazy to me. What inspires people to do that? That's so weird to me. It's just weird. All right, I have a bug trap that got really, really, really stuck on the bottom of my trash bags, and that bothered me. So also, you saw me open a bunch of Amazon packages, and I have been talking about my predatory RV loan and how I've been consuming a lot of finance content, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But the things that I purchased were a plasma ball, and that one was very important that I buy. It was a must purchase, and if I can get permission, I will tell that story at another time. But as of right now, I don't have permission, and so I'm not going to go into it, but I had to buy that toy. The rest were cat food, bulk trash bags, a new mic for my camera, and noise, what are they called? Wind guards. So that was a business thing. Those were the things that I was unboxing. So it's kind of like the daily regulars and then 2 things that weren't daily regulars. So I'm not really shopping. I'm trying not to be shoppy, and I'm a very shoppy human. I'm trying not to be shoppy. I am binge watching financial content. I am really into it. I love compilations of TikTok that's on YouTube. And it's like either people talking about their debt and how soul crushing it is. It's people talking about their payoff journey and what they're trying to do, how far. It's people who have completed their debt payoff goals and what their life looks like now. And like people who just are doing really well, but how they spend their money anyways. Like, this is what they do. And it's putting me, because I love it. I'm surrounding myself by the kind of stuff that I would want to see. You know how they say you're the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I spend most of my time with YouTube, so I want to watch that content, right? So I want to watch financial content, so it's always in the forefront. Honestly, if I wasn't doing this and becoming so obsessed with it, I wouldn't have taken such a hard look at my RV loan with its massive, incredible, hard to chase down interest rates. I wouldn't have started doing huge payoffs on it using all of the benefit that I get from YouTube. And I wouldn't have caught their absolute fuckery they have with the ledgers where they're stealing thousands of dollars from me, because I just wouldn't have looked at it. I would have seen my principal balance, my next payment due, and I just would have kept it on auto draft and just never caught it. But because of this, I caught it within 2 days of them stealing all of my transactions and reassigning them to a later date, making me delinquent so that they could pull my entire payment and put it towards interest instead of putting certain chunks towards principal. I wouldn't have caught that. But because I've been like, you know what? Let's study our finances. And this is our only debt. Well, we have a mortgage, but these are our debts. And if I can get us into the correct payment schedule, if we can buckle down, not like deprive ourselves. Like, we don't have to restrict. We just have to stop buying everything that we effing want. Like we have to stop being like, yeah, okay, add to cart, which is kind of tricky because a lot of my content is redecorating, refurnishing. So I have to go make sure I don't fall down the hole of overconsumption content where I'm like, here's my winter haul from Hobby Lobby. Like we can go into Hobby Lobby. I'm happy with that. We can look, we can go to Target, we can look, but we don't need to be buying that stuff. And so, I might I like to buy after the season has passed and then hold it and like discover it and be delighted. So buying it on clearance and then surprising myself with it the next year. I don't hate that idea. But I don't want to continuously purchase things so that I can show you my new things that I purchased so that I could redecorate my house. And then right? So we did the entryway. Yes, I really wanted to redo the entryway. But honestly, the investment on buying the stuff on the entryway is not it's not, that's more for me. I can't keep doing that kind of content because I will start putting myself at a loss. Like the YouTube money won't compensate for it, right? Okay, so we don't want to fall down that rabbit hole. What started me on this train of thought, you guys? Why am I talking about this? I've lost it. I got halfway through and so I've been watching that finances. I wouldn't have caught it. If I stay on the financial plan that I have in my mind, I could probably get us out of both the RV and our mortgage in 7 years. That would be incredible. I keep looking at 7 years from now, Beth, she's 50. She's stunning, right? Everybody's going to be like, oh, you don't even look 50. And I'm like, thank you, right? But we don't have any face work because I think that's weird. I'm not going to age well with fillers and Botox. I can already tell. I just don't have that kind of face. I just have to get old. I have to Pamela Anderson this. P.S. In love with Pamela Anderson. Right, ladies? So in love with her right now. But 7 years from now, that's incredible. Do you think the kind of savings and life I could provide for the twins after that? Amazing. So I just love this for me. If you guys are struggling financially, or if you have any sort of those toxic traits, like you have to get out of the overconsumption core that is going on right now. Instagram, I swear to God, is every third reel I see is a literal ad. And then, oh no, it died. Don't send, hold on. Okay, it died, so I can't stop this train of thought. So I have no idea what's going. I have to reload it and then lay this over. But I'm just going to keep talking about this last thought that I have and then see what happens next. So what I was trying to say was what? If you're watching too much of this, because on Instagram, like every third reel is literally an ad from a company, right? But then a lot of the content is also ads. You know what I mean? So maybe 1 out of 4 reels are legit and everything else is trying to sell you something. And I am so susceptible to it. I am like, oh my God, do I need that? Do I need that shirt? Do I need that bag? You know, the bag, you guys, that is, you lay it out flat and you add your clothes to it and then zip that part up and then it zips up and your clothing are the sides of the bag. And now there's a hole in the middle and you can add more stuff. So it is everything ever and you just pack it all up and stuff like that. I'm like, I need that. I need that so badly. When am I traveling? Hardly ever. Twice a year. Do I need that? No, I don't, but I am obsessed with the idea of me needing it. It also fits under the seat in front of you. So you don't even get the overhead bag claim. And I'm like, oh my God, that sounds incredible. Because that is not a life inconvenience for me. It happened once last year. So I need to spend, what is it? Probably $200 on something that I will use annually, maybe. And I have a Delta American Express, so my first bag is checked free. So none of that matters to me. I'm obsessed with the stupid idea for the stupid bag though. And so It's things like that where I'm like, oh my God, I need those pants. I need that top. I need that bag. And I really get into it. And then I get really shoppy. And then I'm like, I could just buy that real quick. And my husband's also very shoppy. So we have to unshoppy ourselves. And so if you guys, that's what I'm trying to say. Sorry. I went right back to me when I was talking about you guys because I'm a narcissist and that's fine. Um, Actually, Megan said I wasn't a narcissist and she's a professional. And then she charged me a copay. Um, so I like recommend you guys get into like the people crying about their debt that it like really impacts you where you see where you could end up and how bad it could be and how much you do not want that. And then also getting in the content of people who have plans, who are enacting those plans and they are doing great things. And then the people who don't have to worry about any of that and where they're putting their money and how relaxed they are and stuff like that. Like it really feels good to watch. So I've been trying to intentionally add that into my content. Weirdly, I have a lot of Canadian politics in my feed right now because I was like, oh yeah, I'll look into what they're talking about. And now YouTube's like, do you want to know everything about what Canada's doing? I was like, yes, because I want to learn the most I can about my enemy so I can get them where it hurts. Um, and then what else? I am watching fitness stuff. Um, and there's a lot of toxic fitnessy stuff out there, so that's pretty dicey because the 3 bite lady, I don't know who she really is, but like, okay. If any of us, do you guys remember being fat in the 90s? Remember what that was? Remember Britney Spears coming out on stage and we're like, boo, fat whore, look at her fat. And if you look at that now, you're like, oh my God, she was so thin. She was like maybe 127 pounds. And we were just like, this bitch let herself go. And she wasn't fat. But remember, we used to think people were so fat. And I'm so worried we're going back to that. I'm worried we're going back to the 90s fat, right? And like none of us are going to fit. None of us will. We will have to lose so much weight. Like I would have to lose 70 pounds to be able to be not fat anymore, right? I have deep fears about that. But like other things like where you're supposed to put your stupid shoulders so they hurt so bad you have to take painkillers. But like there's a lot of perimenopause content out of there. What is that like? How can you supplement that? How can you best support yourself with perimenopause? Other people are going through this. What does that look like? What do studies show? How does your sleep look? Those things, amazing. I love that kind of content for me. It makes me feel not alone. It makes me understand why my husband can make one small mistake and I want to burn our marriage to the ground and not speak to him for 2 days. And then his very reasonable, polite apology makes me want to rip his face off and eat it. But we have to keep him like he's very close. We have to keep him for last. But like I would eat someone else's face first. I mean, all of that's crazy. So that's perimenopause for you. And just, I don't know, other things like that. I'm really into it. I've got to stop watching conspiracy theories because like they're debunking, I'm using the little quotes, debunking so many things where I'm like, I genuinely don't think I believe in anything anymore. None of that existed. I am so far where I'm like, okay, yeah, that never happened. This never happened. This isn't real. This was faked. It's a psyop. Now I'm really into the idea of like the government having super realistic face masks of other people. Like you can't even tell the difference if it was your spouse wearing it. The only time you would know is when you're peeling off the face to eat it. But they had like that technology in the 60s. I was like, you didn't have graphing calculators in the 60s. What? And so that's terrifying. And I think about that. I got to stop watching those things, but I can't because it's fascinating to me. But yeah, so in conclusion, be careful what your algorithm is. I'm glad it's me. Make it me. I want it to be me. We have to be prepared for the zombies, and I need a very large cult community for this. So please let it be me, but also it's a little bit sketchy, right? Okay, I'm going to overlay this part of my voiceover, and I have about a little bit left, but we're going to have to tag that on after this because I have no idea what I'm doing in here. I can't reference my video. It's frozen because the entire program crashed because I've been doing a voiceover for 2 hours. Please hold. No time will change for you, but it will be about 2 hours for me, which sucks. 2 hours later. Sweet Jesus. Towards the end of that, I realized that I think when I get tired, my upspeak really enhances. So when I'm talking, I was doing a lot of uptick and that bothers me. Okay, well, it's been 2 hours, so I can't remember if that was super prevalent in the beginning of my video. I'm going to start down speaking. I'm just kidding. Oh my God. It's crazy. If you guys are here with me until the end of this video, what honestly is going on with your life? Like, what is happening? I love you so much. It's wild. I cannot believe that this turned into a 2-hour video. I have been editing approximately 10 hours right now trying to get this done. I still have more after this, which is kind of amazing, devastating, terrible. But at least I know when I eventually birth out of my bedroom into my home, it will be tidy. I hope. Oh, I hope. Because the monster's been out there. Everybody's been living in my house all day, which is fine. They're supposed to. But I don't know. I did manage to, first of all, this morning, I went for my outside walk first because I didn't want to. I really kind of wanted to put it off, but I was looking, there was like a very small pocket of time that it wasn't going to be raining / thunderstorming. And so I got dressed and I looked out and it was raining pretty hard and I was committed. I thought, even if it's raining, I'm going to go out there because at least there's no lightning. You'll be fine. By the time I made it out the front door, the rain had stopped and held off my entire walk. So I got that done at about 9 this morning, came in at 10, made a little bit more coffee, and then sat down to do this editing. So the editing takes forever, in case you're curious. It took, I don't know, at least 4 hours to do the clips, the speed up, the cutouts. And then I watched the full 2 hours, of course, and I started talking about it. And then my thing crashed. And then I have to listen to the whole thing while watching it to make sure when I'm like, look, I'm doing this. Look, this happened. It lines up. So what I did for that, because I don't need it to be really quiet, I just need to hear myself. I got out my walking pad, put my desk over it, and I did my 45-minute indoor walk. During that time, I've been making sure to drink all my water. My water is entirely gone. So all I have to do now is take a selfie and read 10 pages, which I'm going to do as this video exports. I imagine that's going to take a significant amount of time, to be honest. Definitely enough time for me to read 10 pages. By the time I am ready to do the back-end YouTube stuff, I should have completed my 50th day of Hard 75. I have been doing this for 50 days. I'm incredibly proud. I am so happy with the progress that I'm making, with how I feel, with everything. I am also very grateful because with my emotional state this week, I would have eaten so much. I would have ordered in dinner every single night. Instead, I actually cooked every single night except for after this, the day I was like, not gonna happen. I love that. I did not overeat. I mean, I would have overeaten and not noticed because it's so crazy how you can get to like 3,000 calories and you're like, I had no idea. It's insane. So I'm really grateful that I stayed on course and I think I feel better because of it. I didn't feel emotionally terrible and then physically terrible. I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah, really excited about that. I should be finished. I keep doing the math out and then keep forgetting, but I should be done about the second week in September. Oh my God, that's so close, you guys. Looking at this, it's so close. Oh my goodness. But it looks like about 2 days before I finish, I'm going to a candy shop for a field trip. That's kind of a huge bummer, but also a blessing. So I'm not eating a candy shop's worth of candy because it's day 76. I do plan on taking some time off right afterwards, I am so tired of drinking so much water, whether or not I want to, and forcing myself for 2 workouts. But I do think I want to stay committed to the one walking outside at least. And then I am going to start going to CrossFit again. So I will be blending those two things in. I'm not going to read 10 pages of a book. I hate that rule. It's stupid. I will not be taking selfies. I also hate that rule. It's stupid. But I drink 3 of my big green water bottles every day. That's a gallon. I'm going to try to stick to 2 and I want to get no less than 12,000 steps per day, which I easily get right now. So those are the goals that I want to continue going forward. I'm going to take off time for my anniversary. I want that rest day. I think I'm going to take rest days on the weekends where I'm not doing either the outside walk nor CrossFit. And I also think, I think my voice is going a little bit. That's fun. I also think that my brain stopped. What? You guys. Oh, I'm also going to take a break when I go to Vid Summit because I have very big plans on laying in bed with Millennial Meg and us eating dessert in a very platonic way. She will charge a copay, I'm sure of it. Don't worry about that. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking of. I do think, by the way, if you're looking, also, I didn't pay attention this time and I told myself I would. I think I don't vacuum behind like where the shoe thing is and the door to my garage. I don't think I vacuum back there. I think I just vacuum the kitchen and then put it away, but I go and mop it. It couldn't have been so terrible because I don't remember thinking, oh, there's a lot of dirt that I'm pushing around or like cat hair tufts. But I genuinely didn't see it. And then I didn't pay enough attention because I was talking about eating dessert in bed with Meg. Megan's the worst. She's ruining my life. But look, oh, also on this day, I text my husband and I was like, I really hope you don't come home soon. Could you stay at work? And then he does stay at work a little bit. And I was like, okay, you can come home. I'm just about done. But I didn't want him to come home until it was fully clean. So he had to stay at work at like 20 extra minutes. I'm not, I'm a diva. It's terrible. He's so patient with me, but that's fine. All first husbands are grand like that, right? And my trophy husband will have a very high bar to jump over, I guess. But yeah, here's my final results. You guys have seen me walk through my house 40,000 times in this video, but look, it's finally clean. I had to confiscate all of Leroy's lammies and put them up high after a while because no matter where I was trying to clean the floor, he was bringing me lammies and I got so annoyed that I finally pulled all 3 up and set them up where you couldn't reach them. And then right before I did this walkthrough, I finally put them back on the ground and he was acting like he hadn't seen them in 9 billion years. We don't revisit the laundry room because it's so much worse. It's so much worse, but I don't even care. I don't have dishes in the dishwasher. I do have my emotional support Dawn. Love that for me. Delicious beef jerky. Still have to cycle through, 1,000 billion gallons of jerky. Fine with that. But look. This is the one I'm most excited about. I really like this rug. It's a little black and white. I come over here because I thought maybe it would be a really good shot and you would see the 2 rugs, but you literally can't see the entryway rug. I thought it would be way cooler. It absolutely wasn't. But, humor me. It's fine. And then I was like, okay, and here's the living room. And I was going to zoom in on Kesha again because she had been the star. Where is she? I have no idea where she is. And then I was like, how do I end this video? So I go with my ride or die, Leroy. Thank you for spending 2 hours with me. I love you. Bye.